Hello everyone, myself Presla. This is a new initiative brought to you by Transform IS Academy. In this, we'll be detailing the current affairs on a daily basis related to UPSC and KPSC exam. So let's get started for 17/7/2018, the Hindu analysis. The first news item, the President clears a bill against the witch hunting. So this is actually against the anti-witch hunting bill. The President has approved the Assam Witch Hunting Prohibition, Prevention and Protection Bill 2015, converting into an act. So almost 3 years after it was being passed by the State Assembly. So State Assembly in the year they have been passed in 2015, and right now the President has given an assent, and this assent has become a bill which has become an act. So we'll see what are the key features of the bill first and foremost. So it aims to eliminate the superstition from the society by making such offence under such an act as non-bailable, non-compoundable and non-cognizable. So this is with respect to the superstitious beliefs to what is being prevailing in the society, and now it's becoming an offence where it is completely of non-bailable, you would not be getting the bail, non-compoundable and also non-cognizable. And here we have the bill which again prohibits any person from calling or identifying or defaming any other person as a witch, either in terms of words, signs, contacts or the indication. They're not supposed to do up with any of these. It's been completely prohibited. And the stringent punishment, if any person has been found guilty, there is almost like 7 years of imprisonment, and they have to move on for a fine for up to 5 lakh rupees. And this provision will be as per the section 302 of the IPC, that's the Indian Penal Code. And it also proposes a sentence to 3 years of imprisonment if anybody blame a person for the natural disasters in a particular locality, such as the floods, droughts, illness or any other deaths. So this is for the imprisonment for any kind of blames on the natural disasters. And the special courts will also be set up in consultation with the High Court for the trial of such particular offences. So there will also be a special courts which would be dealing purely with respect to the particular kinds of offences pertaining to the anti-witch part, and this would come in consultation with the High Court. So the bill which has become an act right now. So this is about it. The next one, Army to resume M777 trials. So this is basically in the November 2016, India had signed with US government under the Foreign Military Sales, that is FMS program, for 147 M777H guns at a cost of $737 million. And this gun is almost like a 155 mm 39 caliber towed artillery gun made of titanium and aluminium alloys. This will be more than sufficient, you don't have to dig on it. The next one, Supreme Court slashes out the center on pollution. This is basically we are talking about the pet coke. So pet coke, or we call it as petroleum coke, is a solid carbon material that resembles the coal. So it is a solid carbon material which has been resembling a coke. It can be called as a pet coke or a petroleum coke. And it is a byproduct of the oil refining process, and as refineries worldwide they seek to operate more efficiently and extract some gasoline and other high value fuels from each barrel of the crude oil, a solid carbon material is known as the pet coke which is being produced from it. So read the statement again once again. The petroleum coke or a pet coke is used by industries as fuel and contains various dangerous chemicals and heavy metals such as chromium and vanadium, etc. So you have to even know about the heavy metals which the pet coke contains. And pet coke is also a high sulfur contents which on burning releases large amounts of sulfates into the atmosphere. In return, there is a pollution which has been part of it, and these harmful chemicals cause the air pollution and can lead to various health risks. And the court has been urging the government to move forward towards the nationwide ban on the use of the pet coke and furnace oil to power up the industries to fight the pollution. So this is like the court is actually asking the governments to make up the nationwide ban so that the use of the pet coke or the furnace oil can be stopped at the earliest, so that we can start fighting the pollution from wherever the pollution point or the source of pollution is being at the high. The next is the court, as the last year had been ordered a ban on the industrial use of the pet coke and furnace oil in UP, Haryana and Rajasthan. So earlierly the particular court has been banned for the industrial use of the pet coke or furnace, especially the areas of UP, Haryana and Rajasthan, which is a belt where which is again you have the Delhi which is being polluted by it. So and the pet coke is imported from the countries like US and China. Even this becomes important. and however these countries have already stopped using them after due considerations of its harmful effects on human and environment. So these countries like US and China, they've stopped using the pet coke as they get to know that it is having an harmful effects on the human and also the environment. But here the pet coke is actually being imported from the US and China from India. So this is about it. Just understand to whatever the pet coke is being dealing with. The next one, upgraded Vikas engine with more thrust will boost ISRO's rockets. So we have the Vikas engine. So Vikas is a family of a liquid fuel engine, was developed by ISRO in 1970. So this is one sort of an engine which is of a liquid fuel, and this has been developed by the ISRO in the year 1970. Since then it has 5 variants. So we have Vikas 2, Vikas 2B, Vikas X, Vikas 4 and Vikas 4B. The current variant to what we are talking right now is Vikas 4B. The last one is being used on the second stage of the PSLV, that's a Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, the second stage on the fourth strap on the boosters of the GSLV Mk2, and the twin engine core liquid stage L110 of the GSLV Mk3. So you also know, like last year it's been full of GSLV Mk3. This is also having a connection with respect to Vikas engine, and Vikas engine will improve the payload capacity of PSLV, GSLV Mk3 launch vehicles, so that the payload to whatever the particular satellites are being taking up, they will increase the payload pertaining to it, especially with the PSLV, GSLV Mk3 launch vehicles. And the Vikas engine is used in the second stage of the light lifting PSLV, the second and the 4 add-on stages of the medium lift GSLV, and the twin engine core liquid stage of the Mk3, that is GSLV Mk3. So these are the different stages to how the engines can be used in the different kind of launch vehicles. So this is about it. And here you have the one. The Vikas engine is aimed at improving the payload capacity, that is the capability of the PSLV, GSLV Mk3 launch vehicles. So here you have the list of it. You can just go through them. The next one, BrahMos tested in extreme weather conditions. So here BrahMos, which is again a joint collaboration between India and Russia, and is capable of being launched from land, sea, subsea and air against the surveys and the sea-based targets. So this is a collaboration which is coming from India and Russia, and it can be launched from land, sea, subsea or even the air, or it can also be from the sea-based targets, so they can look on for the targets. And it has a strike range of almost like 290 km and is described as the world's fastest supersonic cruise missile. And the range of supersonic cruise missile was initially capped at 290 km as per the obligations of the MTCR, that is Missile Technology Control Regime. And since India entry into the club, the range has been extended to 450 km and the plan to hit is almost for 600 km. And you should know that latestly we even got the signing part, or we've been a part of the MTCR. So there are almost like 4. We have the MTCR, we have the Australian group, we have the NSG, and we have with respect to the Wassenaar agreements. So we have got for the 3, the one which has been pending is the nuclear supply group. We haven't got an kind of a convention with that, but the other 3 we have signed it, and that's reason the extended range from 290 is being gone to 450, and the plan to hit is almost for 600 kilometers. The Army and the Navy have already inducted the missile, while the air launched variant is undergoing the trials. So this is again a development with respect to the BrahMos in the other fields. So this is about the BrahMos. And the next one, the wholesale price inflation touches a 4-year high. So this is with respect to WPI, to what would be dealing with. So it is based on the price which has been prevailing on the wholesale markets, or the price at which the bulk transactions are made. So this is what we call it as in wholesale. So there are actually 3 important components, which includes, one is the manufactured products with almost like 64.2%, then we have the primary articles with 22.6%, fuel and the power with 13.1%. And this has been published by the Office of Economic Advisor, the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, with the base year of 2011 and 12. You'll have to understand what is the base year for the WPI, which is 2011 and 12, which is a revised one, and this is being published by the Office of Economic Advisor, which comes from the Ministry of Commerce and the Industry. And the wholesale price index does not include the cost of services. So the components you all saw, but this is not having an inclusion when it comes to the cost of services, which has been excluded. So this is about it. The next one, overdue correction, which is part of your editorial. Panel to review the Companies Act. So the center has announced the constitution of a committee to revisit the several provisions of the Companies Act 2013. So now the center is actually wanting a kind of a committee to revisit to what are the acts or the several provisions of the Companies Act 2013, and this 10-member committee appointed by the Corporate Affairs Minister. So the committee which has been consisting of 10 members is been appointed by the Ministry of the Corporate Affairs and has been tasked with checking if the certain offences can be decriminalized. And this is being done as some of these provisions in the law are so tough that even spelling a mistake or typographical error could be construed as a fraud and lead to harsh punishments. So this is one of the reasons to why they are looking out for the provisions, because even a simple mistakes or the typographic error which is constructed to be as a fraud, and immediately they have the harsh punishment pertaining to the Companies Act. And it will examine it offences punishable with a fine and imprisonment may be recategorized as acts that attract the civil liabilities. And the committee has also been asked to suggest the broad contour for an adjudicatory mechanism that allows the penalties to be levied for minor violations, perhaps in an automated manner with a minimal discretion available to the officials. So this is basically to have a kind of an adjudicatory mechanism, so that for any kind of a minor violations it can be having a attraction of a penal rather than making it or taking it to as an offence and moving on to the courts, so that it can be sorted or the minor cases can be sorted within themselves. And the importance is that the government hopes such changes in the regulatory regime would allow the trial courts devote a greater attention to the serious offences rather than the great overloaded with the cases, as the jealous officials blindly pursue prosecutions for even minor violations. So this, as we already discussed, this is with respect to ensuring that the pressure on the particular courts can be reduced, and the courts can only deal with those kind of cases which has been a serious offence. So minor offence, there arbitrary can actually, they can settle the issue, and if required they can also penalize them for the same. And the industry captains had red flagged the impact of such provisions on an ease of doing business, the investor sentiments is in general. So again, this is connected to the above. And way forward is that the decision to build in harsh penalties and prison terms for corporate misdemeanors in the 2013 law was influenced by the high pitched anti-corruption discourse that prevailed in the country at the moment in time, but a trust deficient between the industry and the government owing to stray the incidents of the corporate malfeasance should not inhibit normal business operations. So here, pertaining to the Companies Act and the problems pertaining to it, these are the two important points that which has to be taken into consideration, the way forward thing. And the next one, the dark clouds over the RTI. So again, this is a part of the editorial. RTI, the right to information. Since 2005, the RTI helps to on the various reasons. Number one, transform the relationship between the citizen and the government. Number two, dismantle illegitimate concentrations of power. 3, helps to uncover the fraud. 4, legitimize the demand for answers. And 5, assist the people in changing the centuries of feudal and the colonial relationship. In short, it mandates the replacement of prevailing the culture of secrecy with the culture of transparency. So that's the main ideology with respect to getting the RTI into consideration. The right to information, the secrecy, getting into the habit of the transparency. But the concerns right now is that the proposed amendments have been kept secret, and there has been a hint of public consultation. So whatever the amendments they're trying to do up with the RTI Act 2005, right now the amendments are kept secret and not even a single hint has been given to the public for consultation, and any amendment to the law should have been discussed before it went to the cabinet. But it was not being discussed as in the pre-legislative consultation policy of the Government of India. And the second concern is that Section 4 Clause 2 says, it shall be a constant endeavour of every public authority to provide as much as information suo motu to the public at regular intervals, so that the public have minimum resort to the use of the Act to obtain the information said the particular act, that is the section 4 clause 2 of the RTI, which has been very poorly implemented. The next one, more than 70 RTI activists have lost their life, but still the government is showing its unwillingness to operationalize the Lokpal, the Whistleblowers Act, and also the grievance redress law, and now the amendment to the RTI Act is undermining a democracy in India. So these were the things which has to be done, but still it's not been executed. On top of it, the proposed amendments which has been kept under the secrecy. So somewhere the democracy in India will not be as per the expectations of which might be undermining with respect to the part. So this is with respect to the editorial column which was there, RTI, and these are the important news items. And the question for the day is, you have to abbreviate sites and abbreviate JAM. So you can put your answers in the comment section. So these were the important news items for 17/7/2018. Thank you.